One of the famous shots that Phil is noted for is the flop shot. The technique is incredible. Phil, can you explain that?
Well, Roger, I need obviously a 60-degree wedge or more. I sometimes will use a 64, but the 60-degree is just as effective. I need to have bounce, actually. People think that I don't have bounce on this shot. I actually have 10 degrees of bounce, but I have this little concave groove we talked about where the leading edge is sticking forward. It helps get underneath the ball.
Right.
The biggest thing in hitting the lob shot is assessing the lie. If we have one other ball, I'd like to point out there are two different lies here. One where the grass is fluffy and one where the grass is tight. I'm going to show you how to hit the one off of the tight lie here. And what I do is, I want the club to go underneath the ball. The bounce kicks it into the ball, and that's how I get it to pop up. So I open up the face almost flat, so the toe is almost touching the ground. And I put my weight forward. This helps me drive the club into the ground and keep it underneath the ball. Now, if I were to let the club pass, what happens is the sole starts adding bounce, and the leading edge starts coming up off the ground, and I blade it. So I have to make sure that my arm and club are accelerating together through impact. If I start stopping my arm and letting the wrist flip, that's when the leading edge comes up off the ground and blades it. So I've got my weight forward, the club is flat, the toe is almost hitting the ground, and I'm going to drive the club right behind the ball, and I'm able to hit this soft little lob shot. Now, if I use that same technique off of this fluffy lie, watch what happens. I go right underneath it.
Right.
So I have to make an adjustment, and that adjustment is my weight. My weight forward will drive the club down underneath the ball off a tight lie, but I have to level it out off of a fluffy lie so that I have a shallower bottom of my arc.
This is adding bounce to the shot.
Adding bounce, exactly. But it's also leveling out the angle of attack or impact. And I'm able to hit the same lob shot off of different lies.
It's one thing to be out with the guys Saturday afternoon, but when you're in a tournament, you've used this a few times, and it just wows the gallery, I'm telling you.
Well, it's not a high percentage shot.
Yeah.
But because I've hit it so many times, I do feel comfortable with it enough to hit it in pressure situations. So the lie at the PGA in 2005 on the last hole where I had to get up and down for birdie to win by one, the ball was in pretty thick rough. It was thicker rough than this, but I put the ball down here. You can barely see the Callaway logo there. And the most critical element of this shot was to go into the ball aggressively. To know that I had the right amount of bounce, that I wouldn't go underneath it, to know that I was cutting through the grass and the club was going to continue on through impact. If I ease into it, that thick, heavy rough would have just grabbed the club and stopped it, and the ball would have come up well short. So I wanted to make sure to accelerate right on through into the finish. And let the ball trickle just down right by the hole.